On the night of May 4th to 5th, 1943, over 40 U-boats converged on convoy ONS-5 in the North Atlantic. The convoy consisted of 43 merchant ships traveling from Liverpool to Halifax. The escorts were outnumbered with 30 submarines against 16 escort vessels. For the U-boat commanders, this should have been a massacre. Instead, it marked the beginning of the end. The convoy battle began on April 28th, when U-650 spotted the merchant ships 400 nautical miles south of Greenland. Admiral Karl Dönitz, commanding U-boat operations from Paris, ordered every available submarine to converge on the convoy. Wolfpacks Star and Frink, comprising 43 U-boats in total, were assembled. This represented one of the largest concentrations of submarines against a single convoy in the war. For 3 years, German U-boats had dominated the Atlantic. They operated on the surface at night, invisible to British radar, faster than most escort ships, able to position themselves ahead of convoys and strike from darkness. In March 1943, U-boats sank 82 Allied merchant ships, totaling 476,000 tons. It was the worst month of the war for Allied shipping losses. Fuel reserves were down to 3 months, food stockpiles at emergency levels, and the U-boat force at its strongest. Germany had 240 operational submarines, 118 at sea, with new boats being commissioned faster than the Allies could sink them. The mathematics favored Germany. If they could sink Allied ships faster than they could be replaced, Britain could be forced to surrender. But by April 1943, losses had begun to rise unexpectedly. 15 submarines had been lost in a single month. Experienced commanders attributed this to improved British escort tactics and increased air patrols. Intelligence at U-boat headquarters had no indication that Allied technology had changed fundamentally. Korvettenkapitän Reinhard Hartigan, commanding U-515, had been one of the most successful aces in the Atlantic, sinking 23 ships totaling over 140,000 tons. During a patrol from April 30th to May 1st, he attacked convoy TS-37 off West Africa, sinking 7 ships in 12 hours using new magnetic influence detonators. But even during this successful attack, Hartigan noticed something unusual. A British escort destroyer appeared without warning from his Metox radar receiver. The receiver was supposed to detect British radar at ranges up to 15 kilometers, but it remained silent until the destroyer was close enough to open fire. Hartigan was forced to crash dive to escape. Reports like this accumulated. Aircraft were finding surfaced U-boats at night with impossible accuracy. Escorts were appearing without radar warning. Depth charge attacks became more precise, even when submarines took evasive maneuvers. By early May, 17 separate incidents of Allied detection without Metox warning were documented. Something had changed, though German intelligence could not identify what. The answer lay in technology the Germans did not know existed. On March 17, 1943, British Coastal Command had deployed the first operational ASV Mark III radar on Wellington bombers, operating on a 10-centimeter wavelength generated by a cavity magnetron. It could detect surfaced U-boats at 16 kilometers and periscopes at 8 kilometers. The Metox receiver every U-boat carried was blind to this radar. The cavity magnetron, developed in February 1940 by John Randall and Harry Boot at the University of Birmingham, created powerful microwave oscillations at short wavelengths. The ASV Mark III transformed anti-submarine warfare Aircraft could patrol at night or in heavy weather and detect surfaced submarines long before they could react. A U-boat needed 30 seconds to crash dive to safety, but aircraft could close the distance in 15 seconds. Churchill personally ordered the radar to be rushed into service for Coastal Command in March 1943. The first successful attack came on March 22nd, when a Wellington detected U-665 in the Bay of Biscay. Mettox gave no warning, and depth charges were dropped before the crew could react. Over the next 6 weeks, ASV Mark III-equipped aircraft sank 11 U-boats and damaged 23 more, almost none detecting the radar beforehand. German intelligence investigated every attack and found nothing unusual. The Mettox receivers were working normally. Rumors circulated that British aircraft were detecting Mettox emissions themselves, but this was a deliberate disinformation campaign to conceal the true technological breakthrough. German commanders were ordered to shut off Mettox receivers in August, leaving U-boats blind to both old and new radar, which only increased losses. By May 1943, the statistics were devastating. Convoy ONS-5 was attacked by over 40 U-boats. 13 merchant ships were sunk, but 6 submarines were destroyed and 7 severely damaged. In previous battles, Germans typically lost 1 or 2 boats while sinking 15 to 20 merchants. The ratio had reversed. Convoy SC-128 in mid-May was worse. 17 U-boats attacked, sank no merchant ships, and lost 5 submarines. By May, Germany had lost the Atlantic Initiative. 41 U-boats were destroyed that month, representing 25% of the operational force, with another 37 damaged. Experienced commanders, lost in combat, could not be replaced. On May 24th, Dönitz ordered all U-boats to withdraw from convoy routes and suspend offensive operations. The Battle of the Atlantic had been decided. For 3.5 years, German submarines had terrorized Allied convoys, sinking 2,300 ships and killing 30,000 seamen. They had nearly severed Britain's supply lines, but the introduction of ASV Mark III ended the U-boat threat. By late 1943, Allied anti-submarine forces dominated the Atlantic, and new German radar warning systems came too late to reverse the tide. Submarine operations had become near-suicide missions, with inexperienced crews facing insurmountable technological superiority. The Battle of the Atlantic demonstrated that even modest technological advantages, properly deployed, could change the course of a war. The ASV Mark III radar system, operating at a wavelength unknown to German forces, rendered established U-boat tactics obsolete and ended Germany's ability to threaten Allied convoy routes. Discovering these untold stories reminds us how small innovations and brave decisions shaped the course of history. Every detail, every mission, every life mattered in the struggle that changed the world. If you found this story compelling, subscribe now to stay connected with daily World War II documentaries that bring history to life. Don't miss a single episode. Every video uncovers a story you've never heard before. Join our community of history enthusiasts from around the world. Like, comment, and share your thoughts. Tell us where you're watching from and become part of a global network preserving the memories of the past. Click subscribe, turn on notifications, and continue exploring the hidden history of the Second World War. Every story matters, and every story deserves to be remembered.